Hey, Darcy here with the Mind Sculpt Economics Boom or Bust, and we have two things to talk about. One is the rate of change and how fast we have to learn on our feet here. And two is actually about the rate of change and planting seeds where other people have planted before and, trying to catch customers that had been fans of other game stores. So Wizards of the Coast is our main business partner. They do Magic the Gathering. Magic the Gathering Sealed is almost always our #1 category sale. We're a family game store in Great Bend, 2521 10th Street. We've been open about 14 months. My husband and I run the shop. We have 3 paid employees outside of the house, and we have me, my dad, and Daniel that work from the house. And Wizards of the Coast is our biggest business partner, right? And in the past, I've been able to order from Wizards Direct. We're a store that's sponsored to able to run Wizards tournaments. We get Friday Night Magic stuff. We get, exclusive things to hobby stores. And they stopped this month, last month, today's the 1st, they stopped Wizards Direct stores to, Wizards Direct sales to stores like me. Which is unfortunate because those direct sales, I was able to order and know that because of allocations that I'd be able to get some. That me as a small store, I'd be able to pick up 24 boxes or 16 commander decks, whatever I need. And because everybody was allocated equally, there'd be some left for me. And that protection is gone, which, in the modern era, it might be a little inefficient for a big company to be willing to ship little shipments off to a bunch of little stores. But the idea is that Wizards of the Coast builds its community and builds its player base through game stores like us that take a complicated game like Magic the Gathering and make it approachable by having staff that can teach, by having a community where people can grow and learn with the game. And that it's not something you just pick up off the shelf and teach yourself, or that 2 people who are interested in played who have never played can easily do on their own. A game store is an important part of the ingredient of Magic the Gathering because it means there's teachers and learners and a community to grow with. They need us, right? While direct sales have ceased, I can still get Wizards product through distributors. We have accounts with quite a few distributors, so we were able to, price shop for the most competitive price that we've heard from distributors. But the trick here is that when I go to order Guilds of Ravnica, I'm told it might be allocated. It might not be available for a while after your initial order. And when I could order from my distributor and order from Wizards of the Coast direct, I could hedge my bets a little bit. I knew what I could get from Wizards, and I knew that allocation would be there for me no matter what. I don't know that anymore. So the game changes rapidly on us, right? Like, I went a full year with Wizards Direct ordering ability, and towards the end, I was able to make more money off of it because I was able to, target the products that I knew would be more profitable, order them each week if I could make a profit on it. And now, that path that I used to take is one I can no longer take. And now instead, my decision set is, okay, how many Guilds of Ravnica booster boxes can I really sell through? And if it's not available 2 weeks later for me to get more boxes on demand, where will the price point be? How much should I order? Do I need a backup plan? Is it okay to have backstock? How much backstock's acceptable? How many weeks or days or months of supply do I need? It's a whole new ballpark. Well, for me, because I've been in business 14 months, right? But there are supply changes and issues throughout the history of Magic, and that's something I'm just going to have to deal with. Like people that ordered Fallen Empires like it was Legends set on a bunch of boxes, and people that under-ordered Dominaria in a more recent thing didn't have supply to meet demand. So there's some type of balance in there. I don't know really where it is, but guess what? I'm going to have to keep swimming as we go into that new ordering phase. Another interesting thing with Wizards of the Coast, so they just stopped direct sales to stores like mine, and instead we have to go through our distributors only, is that they have Guilds of Ravnica product, that's the newest set, that are going to be website exclusives through Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast, WotC for short. And that's a different ballpark because Wizards of the Coast, to my knowledge, has not sold directly to our customers, the customer base we build through teaching, through community, online before. You couldn't buy direct booster boxes, booster packs. These are going to be special $250 MSRP booster boxes. But my main business partner is now selling to the customers I generate for them without including me. that hasn't been part of the scenario before because their website. Now, do we have other business partners that do that? Sure. Games Workshop is an example. We have Citadel products. We have Warhammer products. They can buy them on our shelves, but there are things that you can only buy that are website exclusives. Now, I can actually order website exclusives from the company for less margin and bring them to my customers and special order them and get them. Will I be able to do that with the Magic product? I mean, I can buy it and then put it on the secondary market, either breaking it apart or marking it up from the MSRP. Those are options. So yes, I don't know exactly what this new world's going to look like. But I'm a business that's just getting my feet under me and maybe a little nervous at this point because I'm 14 months in. I've relied on a system for 12 of those months as soon as I qualified and knew what I was doing. It was actually really advantageous for me to have that direct account. And now I don't have the direct account and my business partner has gone through selling through me to now having at least one product selling without me, which is a little scary. You know, will we survive? Well, our Magic sales, because we've only been open 14 months, they started here, they've gone up, up, up. I mean, we got a pretty growth line trajectory, right? We've grown our players, we've grown our space, we've grown our staff, we've expanded our hours. I don't think we'll see a downturn in Magic sales from set to set with this. At a $250 price point for the product that is offered on the Hasbro site, I don't think we're going to see a large percentage of our customers that make that purchase there instead of booster packs with us. They might ask us to try to go seek out some of those singles and bring them in, and then my margins are going to be very small to like special order or buy list a specific single and then bring it in. That's hard to really make money off of when you consider the labor of ordering and receiving and all that. It's a tough road. It's not as profitable as people would think. But the question is, like, how much will this affect us? I bet we have 2 to 5 customers that choose to make this purchase through the website. Hopefully they still purchase with us. I think we'll be fine. I think our sales trajectory is good. I think I can learn on my feet kind of fast enough to make up for losing Wizards of the Coast as a direct distributor to me. I can be resourceful in other ways. I think I can still churn a profit. One of the things about our business is we have been expanding hours, and it doesn't necessarily mean that we're making all the money to pay all the bills from the cash register physically in our store for those hours. My guys are working extra hours. We're expanding our hours because we expect to be able to monetize the minutes. If there's not somebody at the cash register, if there's not somebody at the store, we're trying to do a task that builds profits for the business so that we can reinvest to keep building our community in Great Bend. And honestly, I don't know if any of you watch these videos because you dream of starting a card shop, but it's hard. And it's especially hard to build your local community. Games like Warhammer over there, you got to buy into Warhammer, and then you got to build a player base, and you got to buy in with like $3,000 to $5,000, $8,000, depending on how many levels you want. And if you only have a little bit of stuff, the players are going to buy elsewhere, right? And if you got all this stuff, well, you've spent enough in the red that it's going to be a while before you're in the black. So it's a long-term investment to buy Warhammer, build a community, and profit off of it. Now, Magic for us, my husband and I have played all of our adult life. Like, I've played since I was 13, and he played since he went off to AIT in the military. And making a profit with Magic has been fairly quick because we know the turn rate. Well, we don't know the turn rate, but we know the turn rate's fast on Magic the Gathering. We had a collection of singles to start with. We're pretty fluid buyers on the secondary market. We know what we're doing pretty well. So there's that advantage, and that's probably what makes Magic strongest for a lot of stores. But we have to diversify. We have to make sure we know what we're doing. And we need to keep our store in the black. And that means we need to invest in the right products. Like, if you can see this shelf, we bought lots of board games. We had a store that contacted us that recently went out of business, and they had their board game supply, and they brought a truckload down, and we bought their board game supply. So I'm just going to show you these walls, but it kind of looks like we just turned into a library because all these look like side-facing books. But these are all board games. So we added a ton of board games to our shelves. There's more throughout the store, and we're actually getting more. We're getting another truckload, and we're doing this because we think this is our best gateway to new customers. That if somebody comes in Black Friday and they want to have a Thanksgiving experience with their family, that they can remember that a board game is a great way to do it. And there are more and more families playing board games, more and more good board games, that it's the golden era of board games, and that people in the social media era desire that face-to-face communication. So one thing we have to do with Magic is we have to reasonably spend our profits to build our physical location, to build a walk-in clientele, including a casual walk-in clientele that wants board games that maybe will buy more from us in the future. But we have to expand our reach by investing in our retail location, by investing in our rent, in our AC, in our marketing, in our table space, and taking the time to do Facebook videos like this, maybe boosting things on Facebook. We had a radio ad recently. What happens when I lose a direct account with my biggest business partner, and then my biggest business partner starts selling directly to my customers with at least one product? It means that the roads that I've gone before might not be the roads I get to go next year. That the paths that have led me to success in my first 12 months might not be the same paths I get to success in the next 12 to 24 months. Like the road I'm walking down, there are things outside of my control. That's why the industry is hard. It's part of why the industry is hard. And knowing when to invest locally and when to keep profits and when to build your business and when to take out of the business. Like we've set a date in the future where we hope to take out lump sums from the business. But right now we haven't taken out of the business, which again, like we're a family game store in Great Bend. I've said this before in past videos, but if you didn't know, my family doesn't take pay from working at Mind Sculpt Games yet. And that's because we believe that, well, we're a no debt model, so we don't want to pay interest on our money because that loses margins, right? Well, we're also of the belief that if we keep our money in our business long enough, that there will be a greater percentage of profits because the growth rate will be higher. That's what we're trying. But the past success does not guarantee future success. Future potential, maybe, but I can't guarantee because I was able to make money by ordering from Wizards Direct in the past that I can make money from ordering Wizards Direct in the future. I can't. That road closed off. So I have to learn on my feet. I have to find different ways to profit. I have to find different security nets. Or I have to decide that I'm putting 5 figures into ordering X amount of boxes and that I'm okay with 2 weeks worth of back stock, a month worth of back stock, and that if I end up with 2 months worth of back stock, that I have acceptable outs that don't lose me money. So it's a really complex decision when a distributor asks me, what are your numbers 2 months before I have the set in my store, how much money I'm going to spend, how much of my budget can go there, and how much risk I'm willing to take on from a set that I haven't seen spoiled, that I don't know the sell-through rate of, and I don't know, you know, the outside market, or if a product's going to be available only on their website. Like there's so many unknowns that if I'm not responsive, if I'm not learning on my feet, then I'm already dead. Which, you know, we're just a game store, right? It seems simple. It's not. Some things are simple. The cash register is simple. When a product comes off the shelf and goes to the cash register and gets rung up in square, we know what to charge them. We can take their money. That part's easy. That's the retail part. But you know, there's just so much more of it. So we have to learn fast, right? But there's this other side of the balance. We're in an area where if we looked at the 5-year history or the 10-year history of Magic shops within driving distance of where we set up, there's no competition around us right now, right? You have to drive an hour to get to the closest Magic stop to have competition for booster boxes. But that does not say we haven't had competition in the past. Or people on that map in the past. They haven't actually been our competition. But we've bought out every Magic card we could find from 3 different stores that were either going out of business or out of business in the last 12 months. Okay, 14, because we bought one before we opened up. So the last year and a half range, last 14 months. That's 3 stores within driving distance of us that have gone out of business with Magic the Gathering. And they had enough cards that we could go buy them, put our man hours and labor and system and knowledge into them, and sell them and profit. I spent lots of money on the last one. The other 2 were a little smaller, but one of them was a 5,000 square foot store, and I went and made arrangements to buy every Magic card they had and came home with 500,000 Magic cards, and then had to use our knowledge to profit off that, right? But here's the trick. We have players in our local area that have played for a long time in different systems than ours. In systems that unfortunately were unsustainable for the owners. We have people who had great amounts of fun in shops that were running in the red every month. So the expectations of what they got in a shop that unfortunately was running unsuccessfully, that was willing to lose money, that was trying to build a customer base through whatever it takes to please the Magic players. And sometimes those expectations, we have to change a lot even in our 14 months, right? Well, the industry's changed a lot in 5 to 10 years. And the players that have played since Mirrodin, Onslaught, I've played since Exodus, the experiences I had as a 14-year-old, as an 18-year-old, as a 24-year-old, they're different than the Magic clientele now. They're different than our store can offer. I mean, sure, we're a Magic store. We make our best category sales in Magic Sealed, in singles and events. But we've diversified. Have you ever seen a card shop like ours that has 500 different board games and is ran by a woman? I mean, there's just not very many in Kansas that have that demographic. You know, my best marketing potential, most of our viewers are still like 18 to 24-year-old males, because that's the typical demographic of card games and board games. But what I'd like to tap that I don't think our competition in the local area can, or that's not as easy to tap through internet sources, is I think as an educator and a woman and a mom that I can appeal to the moms and the grandmas and the families. And what I try to market with that is a little different than some of the Magic shops we would have bought out or that would have went out of business in the last 5 to 10 years in our drivable distance, where you would have seen tons of chairs, a couple cases, Magic singles in there, Magic Sealed, and really not much else. Maybe some dice, maybe some play mats, accessories for Magic. But would you see 500 different board games on the shelf? We're running a different model. There are a couple models like us in Kansas, but in our drivable distance, we're doing something different. And different sometimes upsets people. It's different. It's upsetting to me that I can't order from Wizards Direct anymore. That was useful. It's a little upsetting to me that my business partner is now selling directly to the customers I generate for them. Change is upsetting. I get it. So on one hand, we have to balance with all the new changes that we have to make. And this industry moves fast. The world moves fast. Consumer tastes are changing. The internet is changing the way we do business. The cell phones are changing the speed at which we think and how long our attention span lasts. And outsourcing and resource allocation, and that fancy word that I can't think of, but you might if you study economics. Supply chain economics. That's what I'm looking for. Those things are changing too. And if I try to do things in the way that a player who's played Magic for 10 years has always expected, I'm dead in the water. And if I don't do things the way that they've expected for 10 years, well, then I'm a little upstart. Who knows what else they might call me? But as a woman in an industry who's trying to target something different than's been targeted often in these stores, trying to build a successful model, when there's been so many models that haven't had a 3-year longevity, that haven't had a 5-year longevity, that haven't paid off somebody's mortgage, but instead put the owners in debt or used up what economic supply they had, it can be a little scary for people. I'm not a vagabond by any means, but change happens and we're different. Like, we actively try to create a family environment here. We'll ask you not to curse at our tables. If we have people that went to other stores where they could have personally sold cards where someone else paid rent and marketed a business, and they find out, oh, Darcy doesn't let me do that because she's protective of where she pays rent and what she markets for and where she creates players at. I mean, that's different and it's insulting for some people, and I understand that, but like, this business is hard and it's changing so fast, and we have to have certain expectations and try to build to our business plan and move through that. Otherwise, again, we're dead in the water, and we're hoping not to be dead in the water. We got a tick down date to when we pay off our mortgage, hopefully, that we can take money out of the business. And hopefully it works. But things change really fast. Things change with my distributors, things change with my player base, things change with my business partners of the companies that are the producers, things change on like customer psychology and what people want and what's hot, and it's hard to predict, and we have to change pretty fast too. And hopefully we make good decisions and change, But the truth about our play space is we want people to feel comfortable. We want people to enjoy their time here, but we also want to protect the vision of what we're trying to build. I want to protect my employees' happiness. So I got to sometimes tell people, hey, you can't insult my employee, or you can't insult my employee's spouse in order to protect what I'm trying to build. Because, you know, the average span in our retail workers' work life for one retail location is 9 months. 9 months, and the time it takes to train and the industry secrets I have to give away to have somebody work my system. I want my people to stay longer than 9 months. So right now we're paying aggressively. We're trying to make sure that our workers are comfortable. And, you know, that means some people who played a lot in businesses that went out of business, they're not going to like the way I'm doing it. And they're not going to like what I have to ask them to do, like, I'm sorry, you can't go behind our counter, or I'm sorry, you can't say that at the counter, or hey, can we try to tone down the language in the play space? So the rate of change in the industry is really high, and the rate of turnover with the stores has also been fairly high in our area. So for me to try to keep up over here and please the people that have always done what they've always done and expect me to do what those businesses did, you know, that's going to have to be water off my back at times, because I got to look out for the best interest. If I really want to build at Mindscope Games a community place where people can enjoy face-to-face interaction, where they can find board games that are going to make family memories, where they can find friendships that build happiness, comfort, and safety in their lives, and find tables that are comfortable in terms of air conditioning and staffing that'll help them learn, and that it's a safe environment, you know, I got to be willing to take some lumps, some insults, some people that get angry with me. But I got to keep in mind the goal. The goal is I want to sit down at that table over there on board game night with 12 other people in the room, and I want to play Ticket to Ride with my son and another mom and son pair. And that's cool. That's a huge payout. My goal is that we can host Pokemon pre-releases and moms come play with their kids and they both know how to play the rules, and when they go home they can practice Pokemon and they can read and do math together and the kid thinks it's super fun. My goal is that somebody can move here, go to Barton County Community College, and we can give them an instant friend base and a comfort zone. And you know, sometimes it's hard to feel like you fit in or know what you're doing when you first go off to college, but you come to Friday Night Magic and you've done it before and you do it here, and we have a player base and it's similar and you like it. It makes any town better if you play Friday Night Magic, I promise. If you're that nerdy type, Friday Night Magic, if there's a place that offers it, that town is better than a town that doesn't. And we're that town. We're a town that offers it. So I just got to keep in mind the goal, the vision, creating a community safe spot where people in Barton County can have face-to-face interactions, where we can set up paint nights and people can paint miniatures for Dungeons and Dragons, and that we can give staff support that helps paint, and that we can have paint sets for $5 that you can borrow from, so it doesn't cost you $100 to start painting miniatures. We can offer that. We can create good things. But in creating good things, I got to be willing for the people who went to stores that unfortunately went out of business, but they did it for years. I have to be willing for them to tell me, hey, you're wrong on this one. And I got to say, I'm not necessarily wrong. I'm doing it different, and I'm doing it different because the end goal is this. And they might not understand my end goal or agree with it, or they might think, oh, you're marketing to moms. What are you doing there? I mean, it's different. We're not the board game store of the past, because there wasn't a board game store of the past. And are we technically a board game store? Well, walk in and look at how much shelf space we give to board games. Magic is our top category, but it fits behind our counter. Like, the footprint of Magic the Gathering in this store is smaller than our board games. And it might be comparable to Warhammer, because those boxes are big. Now, the calendar space and the table space, it's definitely up there. The main reason we have 6 tables in our play area is because Magic players are at them most of the time, right? But we're bigger than the changes of Wizards of the Coast not selling directly to me. And we're bigger than the expectations of players who have played for years and gone through different things and have specific likes and dislikes. And we're really good at building community and introducing new players to new things and helping people find somewhere that they feel they belong, or helping people find a game that helps them have true engagement with their family. We're good at that, and we're going to stick to that. And the rest of the stuff, like, oh, my business plan kind of has to change because I don't have Wizards Direct anymore. Or, what's the future going to hold if Wizards, instead of selling to me, is selling straight to my customer? Can you tell I haven't thought this one through all the way to where I get to a conclusion? The announcement happened like 2 a.m. last night. 2 a.m. I mean, we'll figure it out, but our community is worth it. Face-to-face interaction is worth it. And I don't believe I have to make everyone in the world happy, but I'm willing to build community through games. And Mindsculpt Games does that real well. So hopefully you come check us out sometimes. We do have a video series called Boom or Bust. You're watching this right now, and if you've watched to the end, you probably have seen one before. But we are a family game store in Great Bend, really hoping to build face-to-face interactions. And you can watch our whole business story on YouTube or Facebook, because we talk about the risks we've taken, the obstacles we face in being a startup family business in a small town. So see you around.